This is Shinobi for the Sega System 16 arcade thing. Does 16 stand for 16-bit? Maybe. Is it the precursor to the Sega Genesis? Probably. Let's Shinobi! Yeah, the whole thing with this is that I'm like watching myself play. The last one I did like this, I did this because this room is very reverby. And I was sitting where I'm usually playing. So now I'm doing it where it's like I'm watching myself play. So I'm like right there, which I could technically, oh no, I'm like just out of screen. I'm just right there. I could have changed my clothes. I think I was going to do a thing where I was going to change my clothes and then I forgot about it. But at least I'm not sitting in the same spot. So now it's like I'm watching myself play. That's clever, right? So this is a one-hit death game, but you can bump into enemies, which you kind of have to. It's kind of an awkward thing, the whole bumping thing, but it is also necessary to win. And so, I mean, it's good given it. The Master System version, which I've played a bunch of, has a life meter. I'll go for that any day. Revenge of Shinobi, they added a life meter for the Genesis. Yeah, I'm not a fan of one-hit games. Shadow Dancer is the kind of the real sequel to this, and Shadow Dancer is more how this feels. It's one-hit death. It's very arcadey. Arcadey games are designed to eat your quarters. I don't know how anybody could have beaten this in the arcades, and that's what it was. It was like, I guess early arcade games were too easy, and they just kept making them harder and harder, but my experience with playing arcade games were you would just play until you use 2 quarters. And so I never got very far in arcade games. And the whole problem with emulation is you have infinite quarters. Now, a game like this, it is necessary. This is an infinite continues type of game. This is the kind of game where you keep on trying the same kind of methods. There's like a limited number of ways you can solve a particular puzzle, I guess. Like each level is like a puzzle, and there's certain elements that work to your favor in figuring things out. Like you can use your magic to clear these sword throwing guys, and when you come back, they're not there. But also the bad thing is if you pick up those child ninja hostages, they give you power-ups, and if you die, you don't have the power-ups. So you could have a gun or something that'll just take out certain enemies in one hit, and now you have to do it without that power-up. Which I guess is fair enough, but I don't know. I think in playing it over and over again, you can come back and play it better. It's not a bad game, but it will infuriate you. I am appreciating the arcade version more. I think some of it is just being used to something to go back and play the Master System version. I mean, it definitely has its shortcomings. Oh yeah, you only get one magic for each thing, by the way. And yeah, you're gonna need it.
Mission 1 finished. Welcome to
I hate these bonus stages, by the way. I think with these controls, I feel like I can rapid fire more on the bonus stages. I used to think they were impossible on Master System, but then I started winning a few, but oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. Don't care for the bonus stages.
Mission 2.
I did not grow up with this game or any of its ports. I had Revenge of Shinobi, and I played a lot of GG Shinobi, which was for the Game Gear. GG stands for Game Gear, by the way. I think if you're like really into it, you'll learn where things are and what the patterns are. But at the same time, it's not that fun to have to be like, oh, you have to do exactly this thing at this time and you do this here. I think it would be better if it was like being perfect, getting no hits gets you up to a higher level. But if you take a hit, you know, you maybe you don't get as much power-ups or as much achievement in something. And then so to have that higher level of play, but then also be able to progress. It's like, it would be like the equivalent of, like, I just played Sonic the Hedgehog, the first one. It's the equivalent of being able to get all the Chaos Emeralds or saying, "Nah, forget about it. I just want to play." Like, you know, the good ending or the bad ending kind of thing. That's a much more, I guess, replay friendly. Like if you, oh, I just want to play. And yeah, so emulation. Now that, I guess that's leading me back to where I was going. This is on emulation, so anything on this projector is emulation, and anything I do on a real TV. I mean, I can run emulators on my real TV. I have a connection for that, but so far it's been original hardware versus emulation. And to actually have like an original arcade board, that's kind of you gotta be really into this to have arcade boards. So I've been doing arcade games here. Actually, one thing I didn't know how to do save states or even pause the game. I had some trouble when I wanted to pause the game because I was just getting pissed off and I wanted to step away. And I was like, oh man, I had to look up how to pause it. I think it's select and then you have to, so select on your controls and then you hit P, and that's how you pause this game. So, so yeah, just for that. But yeah, save states. There's save states on this too. It's like, what is it? Like left and right trigger and select? Yeah, I didn't know that going in. I think that's a benefit to actually like really experiencing a game, is not being able to save it. Like it wasn't meant to be saved. And also, I don't know if this game was meant to be played to the end either. I mean, for real, I don't know how anybody in the arcades could learn this game and put like $100 worth of quarters into getting to the end of this game. Like, what kid would do that? But anyways, that's another thing. We're living in a world where it's a game with infinite continues. It's kind of a different game, but in the context of a game that is meant to eat the quarters of children, it is kind of nefarious. I don't know, Ghosts and Ghouls or Ghosts and Goblins. That's another game that's kind of like that. So yeah, like with emulation, you have that kind of thing where it's like something's hard and you can just save it. And that's kind of, you know, it kind of takes away from the game. Like if it's so easy to do that. But at the same time, if I'm trying to record footage, like if I'm trying to just get footage, I don't want to have to like play all the way through a game just to get like particular footage. So it's, I guess it's more of your own responsibility or feeling of like if I'm just playing it versus if I'm doing a video. So that's like a pro-con of emulation. And original stuff, it's kind of like vinyl. It's kind of like original hardware on what I would assume would be a CRT TV. I mean, you can do it on flat screen. I think you're missing out on half of it. Like, it's all about the ritual. Like, vinyl's like about the ritual. It's about having the real thing and doing the click in. And a lot of times I don't really take the time to enjoy things. And when things are slower, it's kind of like, I guess it makes it more valuable. It also makes it more of a collectible. But that's the same thing with emulation, is that you quit. You're just more likely to quit. You just go, oh, I played enough. You save it. Or maybe it's like it saves where you left off, but maybe when you go to start the game again, you forget where you were and you just go, oh, I want to start a new game. So it's a lot like back in the day when you were playing, you had a game like that, that was a limited supply. You're like, oh, I'm gonna play the shit out of this game. Whether it was good or bad, I got a game and it's new. Because it's so unique, there weren't a lot of games to just play.
Mission 3.
So there's this bumping glitch with these bazooka guys. I don't know how you could beat it if you didn't do it. These bazooka guys can mess you up. But if you just like bump into them like 5, 7, 6 or 8 times, they'll just like, they won't do anything. It's interesting, there's a lot of people in this game, you see they're precursors to what they would be. Like they're kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're kind of precursors of what it would be in Revenge of the Shinobi. And there's a lot of levels like that. Like you have the military base. The last level kind of looks, I didn't get to the last level, but it kind of looks like the first level from Revenge of Shinobi. It's interesting how they decided to reuse some things. What does Shinobi mean? Like Ninja Man or Stealth Man or Stealth Ninja? I can't remember what it actually means, but anyways, there's that history lesson. And man, yeah, these guys that like appear out of nowhere annoy me so much. And their goddamn swords. So there's a lot of ports of this game, and I played the Sega Master System version the most through emulation. Probably, I don't know, like 10 years ago is when I first played it. And even though it has CGA-like graphics, it's kind of like on old computer games where like magenta was used for grass or the sky. I still like playing it. I've come to appreciate this more, I think, in like the end of playing it. Because you do get a sense of the patterns if you like to put in the time on stuff like that. I guess it's okay. But I prefer the life bar. There's a TurboGrafx version. The TurboGrafx version looks good, but it's the same like one-hit death. So yeah, this level is where I start to really get aggravated. Because it's just like, one, I've never gone this far. And it's just, there's so much, all these blue ninjas just appearing everywhere. And you know what I hate about this is that if you stay still, they'll just like spawn someone back at you. Like there is no staying still in this game. And when I didn't know how to pause it, I was like losing it. I was just like so pissed off. And it's like a thing where it's like you constantly have to be on top of it. Like add a coin, hit start. So if I'm trying to do anything, that's just like super annoying. So yeah, remembering how to pause, that's important on emulation. That's a thing I wouldn't like about the original arcade game. And so yeah, I think it's like the levels are super, they get, the difficulty really scales up. Usually it's like the first act of each one it's okay, but then they make it hard. And the bosses are super easy by comparison. It's refreshing, but yeah, at this point my hands are starting to hurt, and it's just like getting through these patterns. It's like, okay, I gotta use my magic here, and then like, oh, but then all these ninjas spawn out, and I just gotta like run for the hills, like just like get me out of here. Like, look at that. That's a lot of goddamn ninjas. I know it's hard. Sometimes it's like, oh, I gotta do this video. And it makes it, if it's like, oh man, I'm just recording a bunch of footage I can't use. That kind of irritates me. That's the only way I'm gonna really like get into any game though, is if I have to do a video about it. So yeah, give me the end of that level. This boss is like, it's so weird. Like, so my hands are hurting so much. It took me a while to figure out how you actually do this. It's kind of like a very rapid drubbing pattern. I guess I don't know. I don't know how you're a kid in the arcade though. You get to this level, man. Your hands got to be hurt, and then you guys pow 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 pow. Yeah, I'm ready to turn it in at this point. I think no pause. You can't pause. If you stop at all, somebody's gonna spawn out after you. And I mean, yeah, this guy's pretty easy, but maybe I'll rest during the bonus stages. Like, forget about the bonus stages. You'd have to like play this game in teams. Like, just be like, oh man, my hands hurt and I gotta tap out. Do they do that with drivers? Do they have things for like in racing where like drivers switch during pit crew time? I'm not really sure. You know what's really cool about this one is the way they're kind of like, there's this red, they're like overlap, so they look kind of 3D. So it's like, you know, it's like RGB. You see the blue and the green, and that's cool. Yeah, but at this point, I'm just like, I'm getting spent. This looks good. I mean, this is 1987. It definitely looks good. I think Revenge of Shinobi looks really good. But in just like 2 years, like to put out a game on the Genesis and have it, I think it's just more considered colors. It's more, the darks feel dark. It's more dynamic, I guess. Everything is so well lit in this game, but it's got a distinct look. I mean, it's definitely, there's more detail. That's for sure. This hardware is still better than Genesis hardware. Spoilers, this is gonna be game over for me in the House of the Red Lobster. You know, I've never beat this game before. Whatever, this is where I'm calling it. This is as far as I've gotten. See, after this, you fight a lobster guy, and then the next set of missions is in a place that looks kind of like the beginning of Revenge of Shinobi. It's about time they introduced the bottomless pit. So yeah, game over. That's it. I'm spent. My hand is hurting. Well, that was the fourth and final video of my vacation series before I disappear for a while to catch up on things and whatever. I have a couple half-finished videos that I hopefully will finish, but I don't know if I'm going to release them when they're done or pack them in with the new stuff so I can get super ahead and not have to be constantly fighting to get a video out by every Wednesday. Oddly enough, I have been able to do a video a week with this format right here. And at a normal person approved 40 hours a week nonetheless. But yeah, it was my goal to be able to do a video a week for 2 years, but it usually takes me 2 weeks, so I've got to get ahead so I don't fall behind. So, anyways, see you in the future.